Guys, welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. I am Angel,
I'm Adan.
and this is On Second Thought of Black Widow. Oy, oy, oy.
He's gone
All
Jewish.
right. After our initial review and after putting some more thought into it, I had to watch it again. I said I was going to watch it again because I did like it the first time, but I think or in my case, what I did was so hyped to get my MCU fix that I overlooked or ignored major flaws in this film and ignored my gut instinct, ignored all the signs, all that stuff, just to say I liked it. And I did like it, and I liked it even the second time, but this movie is not as good as initially stated. It's still better than Captain Marvel, but then again, maybe not in the sense of how they executed with this story in comparison to how they executed Captain Marvel. You can hate Captain Marvel or dislike it on its own merit, but with a character like Black Widow that we grew up on or followed over several years, and then with this story, it's pretty much of a letdown overall. There are some things that we can overlook and accept, but there are some things also you should not overlook or ignore simply to the fact that this character is a regular human being, no superpowers. Now, for you, you saw it once.
I got a memory like a vice. Goes in there, doesn't come out.
All right, Dad. I'm going to just share with you, and please cut in whenever you feel like it. I'm just going to go over the big thing right now. I initially said it was like about 45 minutes of action. I'm wrong. I miscalculated. I miscounted. It's actually 21 minutes of action.
I mean, it's a 2-hour film. That's like about.
It's like two
It's
hours and
1/10.
7 minutes. For a person and being MCU, a character that's done with a lot of action, it's not like Loki or Doctor Strange, where it's not about action, it's more about other things. Black Widow is about action.
Mm-hmm.
Some stuff I didn't count because it was either like a smack here or a smack there. This
Yeah.
movie is extremely heavily influenced by all the spy movies that we know. James Bond, Bourne, Mission Impossible. You have some John Wick. By the way, guys, again, if you haven't seen this movie, spoiler alert, we will talk about pretty much in detail what I disliked and what Adan can agree with me on or disagree with what he liked, but I think he's probably on the same level with me on this. I'm just gonna go right into stuff I have. I have a list. Look, notes right here. I have like 3 pages.
He made a
Hear that?
book.
Stuff I don't like. Oi. The Black Widow symbol resembles 2 things, an hourglass and a bow tie. And we saw that in the montage in the beginning with the bow tie and getting that influence, which I thought was like, huh? But then vertically, it's like an hourglass. And where do we see that a lot? In Loki, that had the hourglass shape on the doors and like that at the TVA.
But I feel like that one's more like a nitpick coincidence because Mother Nature chose the symbol for the Black Widow. And Loki, you can argue that that's her time, like an hourglass.
But it's just too clean. I mean, I'm wearing this. Where is she? She's on my shirt somewhere.
I was
Right there.
looking earlier. She's probably on
Right
my
here.
shirt too.
It's a little wider, but anyway, right there. Look at my nipple. Look, bro, my nipple right there. There she is.
You were pointing at the wrong one first.
Is that Black Widow?
No, above the Black Widow, you were pointing at the Nova Corps.
Oh,
I have Black Widow on here, but I'm not going to go searching for her right now.
okay. It takes place right after Civil War. Part of my nitpicks and like consistency. Her hair is a little shorter in Civil War. It is long. I originally said it's like a bob, like right at the shoulders, but it's a little below the shoulders in Civil War. But here we see that's like, even though it's tied up, it's actually like even lower, like mid back. If this is supposed to take place right after the Civil War, how fast did her hair grow? I mean, seriously, the consistency issue.
So you're talking about like
fast-
how fast did it grow in between?
Yeah, it's only a matter of hours.
Well, they don't clarify that it's a matter of hours or days or it looked like she was on the run for a little bit. Like they're like this is like the 3rd or 4th attempt.
Well, the thing is, she's in the bathroom taking off the uniform she wore.
Mm-hmm.
You will think she should hid as soon as possible, knowing that they'll be after her. She'll be off the grid.
She kind of was.
But we don't. What, it doesn't really say that. It doesn't say how long ago it's been after the Civil War account. Now, Yelena is going after the one that jumped ship.
Yeah.
Why didn't she have one in hand already just in case to use it if she gets caught close to a widow. Yeah, it happens where she fights after she gets stabbed. She opens the case, busts it in front of Yelena, and then it just disperses. You would think that go for the run. Let me just have one at the ready just in case.
I thought she did have one on the ready. She didn't open the case and grab one.
I think she did. Because the thing is, she got hit by a car. If she got hit by the car, the thing would have busted inside of her already, like on her carry. She didn't have it in her hand.
Depending on how that car hit, like and how it was on her bird, they make it look like those containers are easy to break. So
exactly.
It doesn't make sense that it would hold up.
She, especially like I said, she's fighting Yelena, and she's using the box as a weapon. With one hand, she could use the other hand just to like go right to the face, busted right there, but she got stabbed and killed, and Yelena was going for the kill strike, and
it wasn't even that good of stabbing.
No. Also, the thing is, in 21 minutes, we see the bad guy. We see Drakov. Sounds like jerk off, but we see him. That's bad editing. Remember, when we first did the review, we thought that the Taskmaster was the bad guy, right? Especially because of all the advertisement.
Yeah.
He was shown as the main villain. But we see Drakov when another widow asked to bring the Taskmaster protocol in.
Oh, that's true. They brought him in early. They should have left him be more of a reveal later on.
I just find it funny. It's like foreshadowing the tone of the movie. And it's just telling you right now, this is the kind of movie it's going to be. Here it is. She's watching James Bond. So guys, guess what we're going to do? We're going to make this like a James Bond film. We're going to make this like a Mission Impossible film. We're going to make it like a Bourne Identity film. We're going to follow that genre. You're welcome. No one asked for it, but that's what the film did. Now, the Taskmaster, now we know that he is a she in this, that the Taskmaster followed tape, followed video of the Avengers, how they moved, how they reacted, they defend themselves, how they attack.
It only looked like they followed like 2 of them. Well, 3 of them, technically.
She does moves like from Hawkeye, does moves from Black Panther, especially when she fights Red Guardian. She does this.
Yeah.
The claws come out. That's from Civil War with Black Panther. Because remember, she didn't have that much information to
study. And then throwing the shield like Captain America, but nothing else.
My point is, in the Captain America films and the Avengers film, Captain America never really, not 100% threw the shield straight at the target. A lot of times, he'll use the shield to ricochet off another object to hit the target.
True.
Or it'll hit multiple targets. Here on that bridge, after the car gets blown up and almost taken off the bridge, that's another thing. She's in like a good 3 car accidents. Not bruised, not scathed, not injured. The car is demolished, but she's okay. Anyway, the Taskmaster throws the shield to hit Natasha. It gets caught right in that window opening. But she's on a bridge where there's like a lot of posts that she could have used to hit Natasha, but she didn't use that. And I thought it would have been kind of cool if she did that to show how much more of a threat Taskmaster was.
Other thing you could have say about that is the Hawkeye, like the bow and arrow thing, but doesn't really use like Hawkeye skills. You can clearly see Taskmaster's using bow and arrow, but nothing of like the Hawkeye accuracy. Great moment in Avengers where Hawkeye's talking on the microphone, aims with the arrow and is looking somewhere else, shoots the arrow, hits Loki. Well, Loki catches it, but still it hits the target he wants to show how impressive the skill Hawkeye has.
But that's different. That's years of practice doing that. Like sometimes you can hit a target without looking, but the mechanics should still be there. Looking away is not mechanical. Looking away is just showing how highly skilled Hawkeye was where he didn't have to look. And plus he's using the wind. Remember in the Avengers, he was driving away a target and used the air to help change the direction of the arrow.
But that was what I mean. That was what makes Taskmaster a threat. Taskmaster in the comics, mind you, not only duplicates the skill, if Taskmaster continues to fighting with that opponent, continues to watch that opponent, they actually learn the skill. Taskmaster actually can plot and strategize around that opponent, and they'll know what that opponent's going to do beforehand. So they actually gain the skill through observation, and they gain the experience through the observation. That's just why Taskmaster is so dangerous.
It did show some skills from shooting the arrow on a moving target of the
one ricochet.
And that was pretty good. I mean, granted, we don't know how long the Taskmaster protocol was in effect, so we have to also think about that.
At the very least, when the little girl got blew up.
Well, that's a long time. Then this Taskmaster should have been way in advance in that stuff.
Exactly.
Now, again, where Black Widow is escaping Thunderbolt Ross, everything happened like this in the quickness. It's kind of weird that knows that she's in trouble, but then has everything set up. Again, I know there's time frame, we don't know exactly, but it seems almost like in 3 days. And she gets rid of her phone, unless it's a burner phone, but we don't know that on that
ferry.
She goes to Norway, almost like she knew she was going to defect. Yet we didn't know. But I guess she had a safety protocol that she had in case of something like what happened. But we don't know. It wasn't clear.
I
Now,
feel like any good spy should have a bug out plan, though.
true, but it was just a little too convenient. Now, when Yelena seeks her out, I really don't understand, and maybe you can agree that, okay, they're sisters. They greet each other with fighting. Granted, she didn't want her to come back. She went there. And how the hell did Yelena know that was her spot? I guess it's because that spot was one of the Black Widow's
They had the same contact,
apartments.
potentially.
Well, no, meaning that place in
Well, they knew the same
Budapest.
guy.
No, I'm talking about the apartment complex. Maybe that was part of the widow protocol that Yelena knew to be there. Natasha knew to be there. Of course, we see the arrow holes on the wall. Maybe that where Clint came in to attack.
Yeah, because that would
You know what I'm
that would
saying?
have had to been Clint. But here's the two factors. The one dude, it was the contact,
Agent,
like the handler that was helping Natasha,
Mhm.
and then also helping Elena. Secondly,
That was a free agent.
he's a free agent, but he said he hooked them up before, and multiple times.
Okay.
Secondly, the box where the vials were in were all box items that were belonging to Natasha that were
Right.
left in Budapest. But the sheer fact that she worked
Okay,
with
so-
the Black
alright,
Widow
so-
program and she was in Budapest, that could have been like a known facility for Black Widows. But that's
Right,
a lot of
like a hold-
speculation.
like a-
Kind of like Born Identity, the agents that they had, outposts or spots that they can go.
I don't remember. I haven't seen it in a while, but I just find it kind of too convenient. And I'm just saying that they're sisters, right? Like that scene where they fight in the kitchen and in the rest of the house, it
Your camera
tells
froze.
me that they have a history. Whose camera froze?
Yours is completely frozen. You're like this.
Right now?
You've been like that for a good 10, 20 seconds.
I'm getting annoyed.
Hey, it's not my fault that your camera froze.
How about now?
Nope.
How about now?
Nope.
Still frozen?
Still frozen. Now unfrozen, but it's jittery. Is your connection looking solid?
Yeah, it should be solid.
You're way more
about now?
pixelated than you started at.
I'm starting to get annoyed. I'm starting to really get annoyed.
Not my fault.
All
I'm
right.
plugged into a Wi-Fi.
I was plugged in too. All right, I'm going to do something real quick.
A few moments later.
So, besides what we saw, is there history between Natasha and Yelena and the way how they greeted each other? We know that Natasha left Yelena to defect to S.H.I.E.L.D. Did something happen that they crossed each other's paths before? Because why would you fight each other or try to kill each other, especially if Yelena trusted her to send the vials? It was kind of confusing. It was like a fight that didn't have to happen.
Well,
Like the truths that happen on the floor while they're choking each other, that could have happened while they had the guns pointing at each other, and Natasha could have said truce, in my opinion. But go ahead.
So, well, first of all, the way that I felt that I depicted it was that they didn't really see each other since they were kids.
Or teenagers or what have you.
No, because Elena was a child, clearly a child when they were taken. Natasha was a teenager.
When she defected?
No. When they were taken back into the Red Room.
No, I understand that, but they trained together. Remember, they did the photos and all that stuff.
They didn't show them training in the same rooms.
Okay.
And the Red Room is just a name for like facility.
Mm-hmm.
I assumed that they had them separated and they would train them differently because they weren't really siblings and they didn't need to be put together for anything else. The only reason that Elena will consider her sister is because as a child that imprinted on her. And she's
Right.
like, to her, it felt real. It felt like they were a family for like 3-4 years.
I totally understand that.
Now, when we look at Black Widow, she got out. Let's say
Because everyone's
Natasha.
a Black Widow, which I find stupid. Everyone's a Black Widow, and I find that horrendous. But okay.
But Natasha thought she was out the program and ended the program. She never really saw Elena. She never really done anything. All we know, and they addressed this later on, she never considered them family.
She was doing that just, I guess, to
Ignore your past.
Well, yeah, just not to dwell or deal with it. You just-
Exactly. But you got to remember, this is the mindset that I felt that Elena had because she establishes. She's like, you're my sister. You abandoned us.
Mhm.
I sent you this because you're the only person I know that has connections to actual scientists or superheroes. And then now you show up at my doorstep and we both worked for the same clandestine organization. I don't know what's going on.
But what I'm saying is, like, why was there a fight?
She
She
doesn't.
says,
They
"I
don't trust
see
each
you-
other.
I see you. I know you're there. I just felt that fight was not needed.
No, it wasn't needed, but clearly weren't going to have hugs and kisses.
You didn't have to, but the fight didn't have to either. That's So we're going a little mountain out forward where the other widows, they explode into the apartment. Yelena does that switch because she knows where the switch is, which, like, but again, I was like, at the first time, I was like, wait a minute, how does she know that it was, you think Natasha would know the blow up switch, but it's like almost like Natasha didn't know. But fast forward that, and it reminded me of Mission Impossible where they're on the roof and they're sliding down.
Mm-hmm.
But when they jump onto that chimney, whatever that thing was,
It was a chimney.
and falling to the side, and the widow jumps and lands and almost falls, I just find it surprising that Natasha would try to save that person. I was like, no, Natasha would let that bitch drop. Sorry.
The Avengers made her soft.
Apparently so, because I was like, you're being threatened and you're going to try to save that person? No, you're trying to escape. Say if that was Elena, I can understand that. If Elena did that and almost dropped, I can see her catching her. And then Black Widow falls like 6 stories and she's hitting everything that's there. She's crashing every time. Like they're breaking a fall.
Yeah.
Kind of like Rambo when he's falling down in First Blood and the trees are catching him to break his fall.
I likened it to John Wick 3, where they threw him off the rooftop.
That, and also who else did it? Oh, Falcon and Winter Soldier. When Bucky jumped out without a parachute, he lands in the trees.
Bucky's different.
The trees, but Bucky's enhanced. Bucky has a metal arm. She does not. She lands, bounces off hard, does her landing, and then limps for 2 steps, and then she's fine. I was like, are we serious here?
I thought she hit the ground hard. I didn't think she landed like did Black Widow landing.
No, not like the Black Widow landed, but she landed on her feet. She didn't land on her back like the girl did. She landed differently on the way down several times, like 1, 2, 3, and then on her feet. And then she just limps to the girl, and then she's walking away like it's another Sunday. Again, that took me out of disbelief. We saw bruises on Widow, but it was from...
I thought those were the bruises from the fall because it was all on her back.
No, the bruises are, I'm sorry, not from the fall, but from Taskmaster. When she had that battle there, that's where the bruises are from.
Oh, okay.
Because remember when she takes off her shirt to get a new one?
Yeah.
That's when they're still in that building complex when they first meet. So this is followed by more chases, which resembles Mission Impossible and The Bourne Identity, which was kind of cool. I did enjoy that with the cars and the motorcycles. Then the Taskmaster comes out with the tank. And I find this to be like lazy writing, where after the Taskmaster shoots an explosive arrow, again, under the gas tank, the car doesn't blow up. It flips several times. It lands perfectly into the station, which I think was the intent to go to that station, but it lands perfectly into the station where her and Clint hid. I find that too convenient. I know we go into disbelief, but again, it should be in reality. Like, how would you know? It's too convenient. So we're talking about the Widow program. The Widow program is mentioned a lot, only in this and sometimes in other MCU films here and there. But you mean to tell me the Widow program stayed silent for so long? She didn't get wind of it until recently because of her sister sending her those vials to wake widows up. Don't you find that a little strange that Natasha didn't know about this for all these years? Even though she may have thought she killed Drakov, there's been some noise.
The logic is, like, even though you kill the head of the snake or the organization, that doesn't necessarily mean the organization is done.
Exactly. My point. How come this didn't come up on the radar before?
The only logic that I would have, and this is lazy, I got my revenge for the guy in charge. I'm just going to leave it at that. That's an ignorant sense.
Well, especially if a person who's a spy...
Exactly. Especially if you're a spy.
Is trained to make sure the mission is complete.
Spy/assassin. That's right, very lazy of you.
So they talked about this, Yelena and Natasha. The building was blown up. Did you see the body? No, there was nothing to see.
Why are you so sure he was there?
Exactly. Natasha didn't see the girl.
But they didn't see the body of the father.
His body. Or her, in a sense, because he was there. They showed him in the office while the girl walked into the room. But we only see the girl at the window. Okay, in the bomb, so this girl only has her face burnt. Granted, we don't see the rest of the body. I mean, the more I see it, I think about this, it's like, wow, this is really bad. The vest, they did a solo move.
They didn't even show any of the pockets. Not even to use it. They're like, yes, it's so great, right? It has so many pockets, and I made some custom ones. Show me a pocket. What's in the pockets?
She didn't use any of the pockets like a utility belt. Like Batman would have been like, throwing out like little grenades or whatever. Mm-hmm. But we didn't see it. It only ties in because of
Infinity
War.
And Endgame.
Again, that was a total solo move. Everything was explained how Solo became Solo, that we come to love in A New Hope. So unnecessary. Oh, and this one, the toy, Alexei. When prisoners get packages, they got to inspect the package. And you see that it was. The envelope The wrapping was ripped, so you see the letter and the toy exposed out of the package. They will be expected thoroughly, excuse me. So there's a string behind the toy. They didn't pull the string themselves, because remember when Alexi pulled the string, the head popped off to expose the earpiece.
This is true. They didn't,
Right?
and
So-
they didn't pull the string of the toy, but at the same time, they didn't look like guards that really care.
Stop giving excuses.
I'm just saying they did. They saw the treats and they ate the, like there were supposed to be snacks,
Right.
and like we ate those.
But I'm saying, if you're gonna rip the package and to see what's inside just for safety protocol, and it's not like they didn't know this toy existed, so you know the strings there, they would have done it. Especially like say they grew up on that character, like we grew up on Captain America, they would have played with it. And that string would have been pulled. I know I would have pulled that string. Now I'm ripping this to shreds. Even though I still enjoy the movie. Oh, I know this part you don't like is when characters speak in two different languages back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And they did that here. They're speaking English. They're speaking Russian. They're speaking English. Speaking Russian.
I don't like it if it doesn't make sense. Like if they're in a world, it's supposed to be Japan, for example, they're all speaking English, and then one person out of nowhere speaks Japanese.
Like Yasuke and 47 Ronin.
Yeah.
Well, how about this? They're in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all speaking English.
English is the most popular language in the world.
In a Russian prison.
This is true.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Oh yeah, the helicopter is being shot down by guns and high caliber rifles. It stays there. It doesn't get a hit a wing. Doesn't cost a little smoke. Nothing. It's not bulletproof because we see it's being penetrated, but it stays up. Yet we see one person hit a helicopter, smokes will happen, it will explode right away. Again, like my thing is like the disbelief in this film is so high. And I think the reason why is like Marvel tried to emulate what Wonder Woman did for DC, the first one, because they had no plans to make a Black Widow film. Then Wonder Woman came out. That was done well. Not 1984, but the first Wonder Woman one. And that was done well. It made some good, smart choices. And here they tried to emulate that with a non-superpowered person. Or not just person, people. Because we have several in this that are not superhuman. Only one that's superhuman really is the Red Guardian. Maybe Taskmaster. I got a lot to say.
I know you do.
Okay, so she doesn't have super strength. So you mean to tell me a person who doesn't have super strength can hang on a rope off a helicopter that's moving, trying to get out of Dodge while moving, catch a guy who's over 250 pounds.
They don't say how much he weighs.
The dude is big.
He's clearly
The
big.
dude
yeah.
is huge. Come on, he had rolls while he was running. He had rolls. They were bouncing up and down.
Those are extra muscles.
I guess so. But still, regardless, the dude is not light. But yet she's able to catch him and hold him and then go up the rope. Disbelief is on another level here. Oh, before that, she has an earpiece so you can hear each other. Natasha yells at Yelena, "Come get us!" Girl, just say it. She can hear you. Just the earpiece right there. Just say it. And then when they're on the plane all together, why she went west. She went west to be an Avenger. That's what she said in the helicopter. The Avengers weren't around yet when she defected. So how can she leave to be an Avenger when there wasn't an Avenger there yet? She left to be with S.H.I.E.L.D. That's what she did do. But then she said she's left to be an Avenger. I was like, where's the consistency? Because that's not true. You became an Avenger after you left to be a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. The helicopter, chopper, helicopter, same thing. Again, they run out of gas. Physics. When you're going in, you have inertia, and you're going one direction. It does not drop straight down. It goes down in an arc, and it will go head first or nose first. Here, it just dropped down, straight down, as if it was being held by the gods. And the god says, whoopsie, disbelief. You hold it in the world of real. Say it did run out of gas. Depending how high it was, it crashed. They'd have been crushed by the impact. They just walked out like it's another Sunday. The only person that may have lived would have been the Red Guardian. I got to get this off my chest.
I know you do.
I got to get that off my chest. That's all I'm going to say. Because watching the second time and after thinking about it, that's what makes a good movie
A good movie memorable,
bad.
but also a bad movie memorable too.
If a movie can make you think, this movie made me think a whole lot in a matter of days. From the Avengers, we know there's helicarriers in the sky. We know that they exist, or they existed.
Mm-hmm.
And people would have been aware since what happened in Winter Soldier, that how Hydra almost used them as weapons, that you would think other governments would be aware that there's one in the sky. Yet there's a freaking condo in the sky. Another helicarrier, but it's a hella condo. To be in hiding that long, how do they get fuel?
Well, they never really established what's the fuel source for a helicarrier neither. So we don't
But
know if
no,
it's like
but
a nuclear reactor versus like a Tony Stark arc reactor.
Okay, well, They didn't make it clear here either. If kids get taken like they've been doing, you would probably see some things go into that condo in the sky. Again, they didn't explain how that was possible. How was it ignored? Was it because they were paying the governments to ignore? Again, not clear. Oh, besides Natasha, or let's say Scarlett, not having a Russian accent, you also have Dreykov, who doesn't have a Russian accent.
He's closer than Natasha.
Well, he's closer because he has an English accent, and his voice is a little deeper. It makes a little growl, little. It's kind of like with Sean Connery in The Hunt of Red October. He did the same thing. He's supposed to be a Russian general or lieutenant, but he doesn't go to a Russian accent. He just keeps it in his Scottish accent. He didn't bother changing his accent. You mentioned this before, like the Avengers made Black Widow soft, because I'm seeing a lot of softness from the Black Widow, almost at tears several times. You're supposed to be a badass killer. You're supposed to be a badass soldier. You're an Avenger, for Christ's sake. Hold it together. But she's almost like breaking down. Her eyes are watering when she's talking to Drakov, when she's talking to Yelena, when she's talking to Melina, when she's talking to Alexei. When things get a little emotional or heated, she's like, I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm dealing with a lot of stuff right now, and I don't know what to do. I know I just... It got annoying. Am I wrong?
No, and well, for those who don't read the comics,
Stop defending.
No. I'm saying this, and for those who don't read the comics, the Black Widow that my brother and I grew up with was never that way. She may have a moment of emotion, but that's her slipping. And for the most part, like, and that's a moment, not a whole arc. Like,
right.
If things needed to get done, she was like Christian Bale in the Equilibrium. That is Black Widow. She'll, like, all of a sudden you'll see that Richter reader just going like emotion, and then flatline. She just switches it on, and then she is like not really a sociopath, but damn well near it. She'll just do what she needs to do, get the job done, and woe be the person that gets in her way.
Like, for me, I see Black Widow, the kind of person will never show her emotion in front of people, but behind closed doors by herself.
Behind closed doors with padlocks and in a safe room.
Right.
She never releases that.
Being with the Avengers did make her weak, but I mean, you can still have family, but then not be so emotional about it.
I call it what they did with the Hulk. It's the Nerf syndrome. They made the character softer for the main run of the MCU.
The thing with the Hulk is, in the comics, he goes through a lot himself anyway. He's the perfect example of Jekyll and Hyde. He goes through so many transitions that emotional-wise, psyche, color, he'll go back from green, gray, back to green, back to gray again. And it was just different personas, kind of like Split. It was like that in the comics.
Yeah, but what I meant by that is they nerfed him. His character's much stronger in a lot of different ways, and they nerfed him from the get-go. They weakened his attributes.
I mean, there's so many attributes, it's kind of hard to guess, unless they do another solo film. Yeah, so many, because he does have a lot of attributes. And plus, he's like a side character. He's not really, he doesn't really carry the
They treat him
films.
like a side character because they still don't have the contract rights to him yet. But anyways, that's where I agree with you in the sense that she is not being the Black Widow that we know. We've accepted her because she's been a side character. So, like, the moments we get, fine. But if we're making her a central point, make her the Black Widow that's supposed to be that person that's like, wow, okay, that training she may be out, but she may still have that training still in her. I did what I had to do and I will do it again kind of person.
They did a disjustice to Red Guardian with his fight scene with Taskmaster.
Yeah, that was the one moment. Both Taskmaster and Red Guardian could have shined.
They didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just quite disappointing.
They made it look like Taskmaster was a little bit superhuman in strength. Not entirely, but somewhat.
Well, I think we have to imagine Taskmaster is a combination of the original Taskmaster with the Tony Stark technology and with the super soldier serum. That's the only way that makes sense.
That's the only way it really does make sense. But I would have been more impressed if they did it like Captain America fought Badrock. They need to use all the martial arts skills and the weapons in order to compensate for the lack of the serum. But everybody got a taste of that serum now.
But we don't know.
Or the chip.
The
chip that they use to monitor the body, because your body can naturally produce relatively insane amounts of strength, like that fight or flight mechanism, like how they say like your mother will like see you trapped underneath a car and lift the car to get you out.
I did say that in the last review.
You did, but it never really clarified if that was the case.
Right, or it could have been the armor, like an exoskeleton, giving a little more strength to it,
like the Iron Man outfit.
So here I just find again consistency on this part. Natasha and Dracov are facing each other, and she's trying to have him punch her to break the sensory nerve. But he's failing because he's not strong enough. But he's punching her with his right hand several times. So it's hitting her on the left side of the face. She bleeds out of her right nose. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, I've seen that tons of times in the martial art films and the action films that we've seen. Those are clear editing mistakes that they just forget where the person got injured.
Right, but it could have been fixed in post with just an easy CGI. Okay, let's move this to one nostril. Let's move it here. Make it believable. It may be something minor, but for someone like myself and you that follow martial arts, like UFC, martial art films, and trained in martial arts, we know that if I hurt my right hand, my left hand won't hurt. We're almost done there, by the way.
My brother has such a rant on this movie right now.
Because I liked it. Then they think about it and it's like, oh my God, this movie did suck.
And I thought we rant Army of the Dead.
We did, but to quote you, as I digress, the fight with Natasha and the Widows.
That was straight up like a martial art action film in the sense that they were all like, move in.
Right.
And then they take turns like, tag. You're right.
Exactly. And that has some good points and some good moments in that. I would have seen more of a Jackie Chan type of scenario where they're chasing her and she's running, trying to, and moving and using the surroundings more to help evade or escape or get the upper hand from all of them chasing her or all of them trying to attack. We've seen that with Jackie Chan where he'll run, jump through a ladder, climb up a wall, go to a ledge and come right back down just to make it more difficult to be hit.
I'm just picturing like the Jackie Chan, like Drunken Master theme songs or music go playing in the background. And then she's like taking the chair and fighting with the chair and like doing like a move around the desk.
That would have been cool. It would have been fun with the music.
It would have been like cool. Absolutely disbelief at that point because like we've been watching Black Widow and then all of a sudden she starts doing Drunken Master techniques and like Jackie Chan moves. We're like, no, Scarlo, that doesn't work. Well, I don't see Scarlett Johansson doing that.
But it doesn't have to be like that in a way of the drunken style, but the evading, the avoidance of getting hit, that would have been cool. Also, she's using the same technology of, that
all the other Black Widows have.
The Widow Sting, the Widow Bite, and they're falling and getting right back up. Are you telling me that it really sucks? Because she's shooting them and you see them fall like as if they're getting stunned and knocked out and put to sleep, like we saw her do in Iron Man 2. They get right back up. They get hit like a punch, and they get right back up. That's like
it's like a taser sting. But again, this is just to play devil's advocate. Like that's like the whole thing with the pig. When she tells the pig stop breathing, whether the pig wants to or not, the pig will stop breathing. So if they get an order to attack and kill, they may be stunned but still conscious. Their body will force them to get back up.
Yeah, but when something like that, it shuts off the brain. It's supposed to put you to sleep.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to knock them out.
I'm sorry, that doesn't fly with me. Well, a lot of stuff doesn't fly with me in this film. Oh, that when we see that little backstory of Melina explaining to Natasha what to expect. It wasn't needed. It would just been cool not to show that. Just let it happen. Dracov, he instilled in all widows a safety protocol. It's kind of like the robot theory where
prime directives.
So he put this in them that if they smell him, the pheromones, you can't kill him, you can't portray him. But then they show an explanation to that. It was not needed. It would just been cool just to see that she figured out that she can't kill him because the smell. Then she does the thing with her head to cut it off and then tries to take him out. But in that little flashback, Natasha says, I'll just go far away and shoot him. And she says, no, it's not that easy. Even distance doesn't matter. You still can't do it. The pheromones. But we have Yelena going to the helicopter that he and his boys went on and is able to kill him.
Fresh air, man.
With that fresh air, so is his. Is circulating around. Yet she can do it? Come on. And then Yelena, when she hits that...
Let's go with engine.
With the staff, it blows up, but it doesn't blow up in her face trajectory or the power of that explosion makes her fall back. You would think that blowback would, and the flames would also hit her, but it doesn't. The suit is not even dusty or... Put your hands away from me. Oh yeah, then the one parachute, again, I said that before in the other review, there's only one parachute. She finds one parachute randomly on the deck.
Just sitting there.
It doesn't roll, it doesn't flip over, it doesn't tilt, doesn't fall, even though the helicondo is falling, is collapsing, but this is one back. And then Natasha saves Yelena. They're gliding down. And I said this before, we see debris falling from the condo in the sky, but it perfectly misses the parachute. Sure, bullcrap, but okay. And that where Natasha and Taskmaster fight again.
Mhm.
She's able to expose the Taskmaster to the red mist. Okay, that's fine. Then tell me this: why is the Taskmaster paralyzed after the
Did
mist?
they clarify it was paralyzed? Because she
She did not
she
move.
stood up.
No, she didn't. After she got exposed to the red mist, she just collapsed and stayed down.
No, but I thought she stood up after the
Nope.
other Black Widows came back
Nope.
with a whole girl that says smile.
No. Melina says we'll get her. She'll be okay. We'll take her with us.
Oh.
And that's all. They say that while she's on the ground.
Could it be that the whole mind control thing was what was enabling her to move?
That'd be weird.
I mean, in the sense that
Because the chip, I mean, I don't think it should affect the chip because they weren't chipped.
no, they.
Remember, Yelena had a tracking device in her, and she took it out after she woke
of her
up,
thigh.
as do the other widows. But why would she be paralyzed after waking up?
The only thing I can think of is that the whole program that they were in, as they demonstrated with the pig, is the body maneuvers without the commands of the brain. If it works in conjunction with the chip, the whole process allows the chip to be able to send commands. I'm just theorizing because they never really clarified.
I can understand that she's exhausted and things like that, but she's just laying there, almost like
It's a heavy
an
suit.
invalid. The suit should still work. The red mist was to take the widow out of the mind control. That's all it should have done. But this one, she had
We don't know what she had.
have it. But to go back to that girl also, because again, it doesn't make sense to go back to that girl that fell, and the Black Widow fell also in the alley.
Mm-hmm.
That girl was still trying to take down Natasha, and then Drakov changed the directive and then sacrificed her. And then it was like the girl somehow woke up from the crash. From that moment, I don't have control of this. I'm not doing this. She said, it was like, but you were just trying to kill Natasha. If you can say that while that's about to happen to you, you could have said that while trying to kill her. It didn't make any sense. It's like she woke up, but she wasn't exposed to the red mist.
She did take a lot of trauma.
You saw that her leg was all twisted.
Yep, a leg and one of her arms too.
Oh, apparently the widows is like the Star Wars universe. You have one widow talking in one language, and you have either Natasha or Yelena responding back in English, and then they respond back into their natural language. And that's something like Star Wars, where one's speaking basic and one's speaking Tuscanese or whatever. Why not just keep it the same? Just have the accent and
It's D&D logic. Everybody speaks
Yeah.
common, and then you have undercommon, and you have underdark, and you have like dwarven. Just D&D logic.
just keep it all on the same level field on this aspect. Yeah, we can understand they're victims to be
But
trained.
they were all
assassins. I
kidnapped
understand.
as children, and so they all
Right.
should. It would make sense that they all speak a relatively the same language.
How did she escape Ross the second time that we know of? The family leaves, the convoy is coming right there. They don't stop those guys. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. We didn't see, but we also didn't see how she escaped or if she made a deal with Ross.
They never clarified that.
All we know is 2 weeks later, she has a new hairdo.
And she got a
She
hold
has
of
a
the
new
jet.
bike. She has a new bike. Oh, that. She's riding her bike on this trail to an open field. She sees her agent friend, wakes him up. They're walking on that field, and then he says, well, here you go. And all she does is this. And she sees a jet. Was it part of Wonder Woman's invisible jet that she didn't see? And he had a click that turned it on? Because the same path she was coming down to meet him was facing that open field where that jet was. It's like, come on. I mean, I understand for us, they did it, but be more in the real. It was behind trees or bushes, okay. It was on an open field, freshly mowed field. Now, I know I said a lot,
Yes.
and I know I got worked up a couple times,
Yes.
and rightly so. Because where initially I did like this, as I mentioned in the beginning, this is in between one and done and multi-fun. I would not ever purchase this.
Oh. I can't remember. Did I say multi? Did
You
I
said
say?
clearance?
I said clearance.
I'll watch it for Yelena's story. I'll watch it for Alexei, the Red Guardian. Not for Natasha's story, not for Scarlet.
I didn't think it was a Natasha story. I thought of it as more of a Elena story. So for me,
And it is.
I'm going to stick with my review. I'm going to stick with my rating on it because I still have fun with it.
In some parts, it answers some questions. In others, it raised more questions. I'm very disappointed how we didn't really get a true explanation to or what happened in Budapest, similar to Nick Fury, how he got his eye damaged. Something that we thought was a great story behind was actually pretty lame. Here, it was just a simple story. And again, I don't like the fact that this time frame of when she defected to S.H.I.E.L.D. to now, because it seems like, again, she's dressed as a schoolgirl. Oh, also, we had this lady in the flashbacks in Age of Ultron where she's telling Banner about her past. We get more from that little excerpt of the Red Room and being trained as a ballerina and all these skills. And there's a woman there. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be Melina. No, it's not Melina because Melina was the mother and Melina was presumably dead. when they came back.
Mhm.
So she's being trained by this other woman that we never see in this film at all. But she's referred to, or in flashback, referred several times as the ringleader, as if the widows were actually trained by a woman, not a guy. Seeing that just annoyed me some more on what they missed with this Black Widow story. And from now on, I have to look at it as a Yelena story. Yeah, it is a transitioning of the guard, like I said in the last review, but with all these flaws that they have in it, it just makes me not enjoy as much as like I did before. And one note, after seeing Loki again for our next review, and in the connection with Val, I think Val is part of the TVA.
Hold that thought. When we do our Loki review, give me that thought then, because that's a rabbit hole.
Right.
We're not ready for that one yet.
Okay. All right, buddy. That is it. I am done ranting. Guys, please share your thoughts on what you liked or disliked about Black Widow. Do you agree with what I said, what Adan said, or are we just overthinking it? On that note, guys, I am Angel.
I'm Adan.
Until next time, it will be the next time. Love you, bro.
Love you too.